Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
You're listening to the Cruise Tips TV Unplugged podcast. This week on the show, we're talking about the Carnival Rewards program change and why it's become a controversy. Welcome to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. I'm your host, Sherry, and we invite you to join our cruise-loving family as we travel the world creating cruise videos and vlogs. In this podcast, we talk tips, tactics, and strategies to help you make every cruise your dream cruise.
Okay, so this is kind of a big deal, and I think there's probably a lot of people interested in knowing what's going on with this, maybe why they made the change, if it's going to stay.
Yes, absolutely. And we felt that we needed to pivot from our theme that we had planned for this week's show and talk about this new Carnival Rewards program, because I got to tell you guys, I think it's gone beyond controversy and it's like approaching scandal right now. This has made people very angry, and we're going to talk about it. I do believe that things are going to pivot a bit with this program, and we're going to talk about that too. But the purpose of today's show is to unpack it a little bit. We're going to talk about what happened and why they did this. How does the program work? Why are people so angry? Who, if anyone, actually likes this idea? And potentially, what they could do to fix it. And then at the very end, I'll share my personal opinion.
Sounds good.
That's our outline, Mr. Cruise Tips TV.
That sounds good. And we should probably say that it was actually last week's episode that is getting bumped.
Right.
Because we missed last week.
Yep. And that's okay. We're just going to jump right back in and catch y'all up where we left off. And I think you guys, the thing with all this stuff, you know how we approach our platforms and our channel. We're very positive people. We don't generally get into drama and scandal, but this is such a big change for so many loyal cruisers. I think it really goes beyond that, and it's kind of tapped into something that's going on right now, in the travel world, and we're gonna try to unpack it a bit.
And this is one of the reasons why we missed last week is because when this story came out, there was a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, let's pause our series that we're working on and do this.
Right.
But then when it came down to it, we felt like we didn't have all the information. And so we were kind of waiting and collecting it. So
yes,
we finally decided that it's kind of an unknowable in terms of everything. Like we don't have all the information.
Right. We don't have all the information. And honestly, I don't understand the program fully. I've tried to dive into it and figure this whole thing out, but it's so complex that I can't really wrap my head around that. So please know that we're not here to give you a granular breakdown of every single detail. We're here to just talk about the whole thing. So let's start with what happened. So mid-June 2025, Carnival, for the first time in the cruise industry, decided to ditch their traditional rewards or customer loyalty program, their VIFP program. And instead, they decided to introduce a points-based system that is going to give people different ways to earn status, including credit card spend. This has never been done before in a cruise line loyalty program. Where you have seen things like this, though, and what all the conversation this last 2 weeks has been about is that this strategy is actually very common in the airline business, in the travel world, in the hotel world, and more importantly, in casinos, right? So you're seeing casino programs have similar programs to this. So what the program is, and here's the way that it works, is instead of you reaching a loyalty level for life and staying at that loyalty level for life, right? You are now going to have something completely different as a Carnival cruiser. And again, this stuff is probably going to change, folks, but we're kind of giving you the first information that they gave. They're going to be having what's called status qualifying stars, and you are going to earn your status over a 2-year window of cruising. And then you get to enjoy that status for 2 years. So there's a 2-year earning period and a 2-year enjoyment period. If my understanding is if you reach the earning period early, you can start enjoying the benefits as well. But if you stop sailing with, spending money with Carnival, your loyalty will reset. So this is obviously very different from anything that has ever been done before on a cruise line, right? Everyone knows that once you reach your status at a cruise line, you keep it forever. Royal Caribbean even allows you to pass it to your children. I mean, there's some things here that are very, very different. So these 2-year rolling periods are quite confusing. Another thing that everyone needs to understand is that none of this is taking effect yet. So we're a year out from it starting to take effect. And if you have already reached a certain level of loyalty with Carnival, this isn't going to be an emergency change for you. You're going to have some time, you're going to have an adjustment period, and be allowed, a little bit of time to get used to it before the big change is made. But essentially, they're going to give you multiple different ways to earn. So you're going to be able to get 3 stars for every dollar spent on Carnival purchases. That's generally the idea. And then you are going to be able to take those points and stars that you earn and spend them on things. Now, where things are a little murky right now is we do not know exactly how you're going to be able to redeem those. Now, in the past, and the reason people are saying this sounds a lot like a casino program is because in the past, what would happen is you would have a casino host, right? So for people who are perhaps going to be using this program who gamble a lot, they would normally have a casino host, and that casino host could hook them up with different comps, right? Different, dining experiences, perhaps onboard credits, whatever, special experiences on the ship. Well, now when you earn these points, you're going to be able to redeem them yourself. So there's also some question about how it's going to change the casino programs and things like that. So again, just to recap, they're going away from a system where you reach your loyalty for life, and they're launching in June 2026. They're going to start up something that has a 2-year period, a 2-year qualifying period, a 2-year enjoyment period, and it will be based on spend. But here's the really tricky part. The tricky part is they are bringing a Carnival co-branded credit card into the mix here. And I think this is what really ticked people off. We all have to know, though, you guys, that the travel industry is going the way of making their profits from credit cards. Not all their profits, but this is a massive, massive profit engine for cruise companies and for travel in general. I was sitting in a room of travel professionals about a month ago. People who've worked in hospitality, people who are travel agents, a variety of different executives in travel. And they all looked me dead in the eye and said, if you do not think that the hospitality business, especially cruise companies, are not becoming credit card companies, you're completely wrong. This is happening, guys. This is a big, huge part of it. So I can kind of understand why some people might be frustrated because they may not like to use credit cards at all. They may already have another credit card and have no interest in getting a co-branded credit card, or they may live outside of the United States and not even be able to get the Carnival co-branded credit card. So I think that upset people quite a bit, was there's this push towards using their credit card. Now, a couple of other things. One thing I didn't mention is why Carnival said that this happened, what they specifically said happened. And essentially, if you go to the website, the Carnival Rewards website, you take a look at their little breakdown of how this is going to work. There's a pop-up. There's a letter from Christine Duffy talking about why this happened and why they felt that they were pushed to doing this. So essentially what she said was that they built their VIFP club a long time ago, and that the program no longer allows them to give recognition to guests based on sailing frequency alone. They can't afford to do that. And that what has happened is that they have gotten so many more platinum and diamond guests. So many more people have reached platinum and diamond that the program has a difficult time supporting it. So for example, she said, if you go on an Excel class ship, more than 1,200 of the guests are platinum or diamond, and Carnival cannot deliver anything meaningful to them. And so also when there's a special sailing, like a Carnival Journeys sailing, where virtually everyone on that ship is at a point where they're retired and they've reached status, they just don't feel that they can take care of them. So they have decided, and they've come straight out and said, we want to do this on a points-based system now. Things you can earn through cruise fare, you can earn through onboard spending, and then you can spend your points on Carnival cruises, on onboard activities, on different things, right? So it rewards people who spend the most. And if you decide to get the co-branded credit card with Barclays, it's called the Carnival Rewards MasterCard, you get to earn your status even faster because some of your personal spending in your life and your travel and everything will reflect on that credit card. And eventually that's going to get you there a lot more quickly, right? So they're phasing out a lot of the different VIFP club stuff. The logo gifts are going to be phased out. A lot of different things are being adjusted and phased out, but they are going to give people some time. So essentially, if you are a diamond member, so if you're the very highest level tier in the program now, you are going to retain your diamond status for 6 years before this even happens to you, okay? If you are platinum, I think it's 2 years. We're platinum, and I'm trying to find that on here. I don't see it actually in the website. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Let's see. Oh, it looks like all existing statuses will be honored for a 2-year period, starting June 1, 2026 and ending May 31, 2028. Then it's just the diamond guests who have a 6-year window. They're like grandfathered in for 6 years. So we don't know about all of the points accumulation and how that's all going to work. And they said that they're going to announce more about the Carnival Rewards MasterCard and all the details later. But essentially they're saying that you can save points. So as long as you have some kind of activity within a 3-year period of time, those points aren't going to expire. So you could accumulate points and get more valuable rewards, like buy yourself a cruise if you waited, but you have to keep cruising with Carnival.
You know, there's something here that you said that I was thinking the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like they're trying to ease people into this with what you said was grandfathered in.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is where, in my opinion, they're blowing it, because I think they're taking away, even though they're giving you time,
Mm-hmm.
they're taking away something you've already earned.
Right.
Right?
You're right.
They're changing the rules on you. They're moving the goalpost on you. You've already earned this.
Yes.
In my opinion, now I don't know, all the details of the program just like you,
Right.
but I think people who have already earned that should maintain it forever.
Right.
Period.
So I think
that was the deal.
Right. Well, you're leading me into my next point, and that is, why are people so upset about this? So what was it that hit such a nerve, right? And that's it. It's that they feel like that loyalty has been yanked out from under them, right? They have some people. By the way, when I posted a short about this on Facebook alone, I had 370 comments on this, and there were only maybe 5 of them that were positive out of those 370. And people they feel like they're being betrayed. The other thing that is really making people angry is they feel like they're going to have to spend $16,000 every 2 years to kind of keep that status, right? And there's some people who feel like, look, I don't drink, I don't gamble, this isn't going to work for me. I choose Carnival because they're the value leader. And now you're telling me I have to spend more money? How does that align? So I think that there's a lot of reasons why people are upset, obviously. But I think those two things combine, right? Having your status ripped away from you, like you said, is a big one. And then, second, being forced to spend. So many people are saying that they're going to go check out other cruise lines. Oh, and by the way, that's $16,000 to reach platinum every 2 years. That's per person. That's not per couple. So you would have to spend $32,000 for a couple to maintain that status. People are mad. They're upset. They're confused. They're all saying they're not going to cruise with Carnival anymore too. Yeah, I mean, really, you got people saying, "I'm done. I'm walking."
See, I don't think that's going to happen. But,
yeah,
but they'll do it with a bitter taste.
Right. So is there anybody out there? Then the next question is there anybody out there who actually thinks that this is a good idea? Because I was thinking there's no chance. There's no way that anybody's going to think this is a good idea. They're all so angry. But then when I started reading through the comments and, looking at message boards and really searching about this, there were a few subcategories of people who do like it and who are optimistic.
Can I guess?
You sure can.
Number 1, high rollers.
Yes.
Number 2, people who don't have a lot of credit cards and cruise with Carnival a lot. Right? You don't have credit cards. This seems like a good idea to you.
Mm-hmm.
You grab a credit card.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You can pick up the credit card.
Or Barclays card.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think about that.
And then people who don't have any loyalty buildup, what do they care?
Mm-hmm. Those are so true. Yeah. So newbies who haven't built any status are probably completely ambivalent to this. Now, what is Carnival's shtick? They're the biggest cruise line, especially for sure in North America, probably in the world. And they really do target new entry-level cruisers, right? Your first cruise, most people's first cruise, and they look back and they're like, yeah, it's probably a Carnival cruise. And Carnival knows that. They know that they're going to keep getting that market share. So those newbies. There's another group of people that I think totally like this idea and they're into it. And those are people who are familiar with and know how to work airline and casino programs. And maybe they already do. They're already deeply involved in casino programs. They gamble a lot and they get how those points and redemptions work. And they fully intend to spend in the casino on a ship, right? So you're talking about high rollers. It's the same thing. But there's also a group of people who are really into getting status with airlines. For example, I definitely have done this with American Airlines since we started flying out of DFW. And there is a lot to be gained if you're putting your spend on a branded credit card and you take advantage of it and you're loyal to it. So I think that that's true. And of course, you said big spenders, right? But then there's another group of people who I think are speaking up and saying, this is fine, whatever, I don't really care. These are the people who say, I love Carnival. I do not cruise with Carnival for the status. I cruise with Carnival because I like Carnival. I don't really care. I just want to go get myself a guy's burger and get on the ship and be done with it and have fun.
Well, I think that's a bigger question. I mean, how important are the loyalty programs to your average cruiser?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think it is more for seasoned cruisers. This as you start to, build cruising into your life, you spend years and years trying to, to maintain loyalty to maybe a couple of cruise lines. Maybe it's not just one, but it's definitely controversial. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, the next question is, what can they do to fix it, right? Like, what could they do? So you mentioned this in the beginning. You said they could just grandfather people in.
They have to do that.
And we know John Heald has said that they didn't give people a chance to, he's like, calm down, give us a chance to hear your feedback on this. We've got a year. So let us massage this and come back to you. They will, you guys. This program is going to look different. So grandfathering people in. Another thing that they could do, and this is a big topic of conversation on social media, a lot of people are saying, what if you just added another loyalty tier, right? Like you put one, a really high one, like Norwegian did. I think it was like, I can't remember if it's called the ambassador level, but I think it is. And they just added another tier. And that could have been a very simple solution, right? I think the key is that cruisers in general, first of all, they don't want to feel betrayed. They do not want to feel like you said, that they've taken something away from them. They've raised the bar on them, but they also just don't like change. We as cruisers, we cruise because we love the classic elements of cruising and we want that. We don't want these cruise lines making things so confusing for us that we just can't figure it out. And that's sort of what this program looks like too. You look at the website and you're like, oh my gosh, like how does this work? What are the rewards? What are the stars? How do I earn points? How do I earn status? What is this credit card? Why are there so many confusing ways to earn points? It's confusing. You have a lot to think about. It's 3 points for every dollar spent. It's 1 point for every casino point. And then you have to think about redeeming all the points. And it's like, wait, what? We just want our cruise card to be a certain color. And we just, we want to know what our status is and where we rank. So I think that there's a psychology behind it too. So those are some of the things that they could do. They could try to make a hybrid program. They could try to do something where they have these points and they have the redemptions and they have all that, but that they don't kick people out of their loyalty tiers quite so darn fast, because they're basically saying like, look, you're out in 2 years, you start from the beginning. Everybody does. Forever, you always have to start from the beginning every 2 years. And I think that's also what people find. So they find that to be such a betrayal, right? So the other question is, will other cruise lines sort of step in, and will they try to pick up a little bit of the slack here where people are saying they want to bail? And we've already seen it happen a bit. I think Royal Caribbean put out like a photo with like some words over it about like, we'll never ditch you, So I think to some degree, the other cruise lines are probably going to, they're going to step up and ask people to come on over.
See, that's kind of what I was wondering, because the way I see it, the other lines have two choices.
Right.
They can buck this new system and say, we're not going to do it, and use it to their advantage. Or they can just fall in line and say, yeah, we're doing that too.
Yeah, and that could happen. You could see that trend.
Yeah, which is really the worst case scenario. But stuff like that happens.
Yeah, it totally does. So I want to talk about, I want to share my personal opinions on it. I'm going to keep this part short because I don't think anybody really cares what I think.
I do.
You do. As I kind of got to thinking about it and how it impacts me personally, because I was like, okay, my reaction to it was just shock that they went so extreme on a program. But when I thought about it, it didn't bother me personally. I didn't think to myself, Carnival, you screwed me over. I just didn't. I just felt like, oh, that's kind of weird. It sounds confusing, but okay, whatever. And then I thought to myself exactly what you just said. I said, okay, so here we go. All the cruise lines are going to start moving these programs into these weird, complicated casino, airline, and hospitality reward systems, and it's going to just change. But then when I really thought about what I felt about it, if I was thinking about on like an emotional level, I realized I don't really care. It is kind of sad, though, why I don't care.
Well, I think it's...
Do you know why?
I don't know why. Go ahead and tell me why.
Because I think that Carnival's current program isn't that robust anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I'm platinum. I'm not diamond, but I'm platinum. I don't really get much. I don't really even get early boarding because there's so many diamond people ahead and people who bought Faster the Fun that it doesn't do me any good. I think that Carnival had and has the weakest program to start with. And that doesn't surprise me because you can't be everything as a cruise line. You can't be the value leader and also have a robust program where you bring people pedophores and canapes in their room, offer them afternoon tea on their balcony, and shine their shoes because they're loyal. Not everybody can afford to do that. Carnival is taking a really bold step and saying, that's just not who we are. We're going to do our best to serve you all, but you have to keep spending. I'm not saying this is okay, you guys. I think it's going to go down in history as one of the biggest and worst cruise scandals ever. But I am unbothered by it. Will I go more? Oh, so I'm so sorry. Now I'm like cutting you off. Will I though kind of gravitate towards other cruise lines? I might a little bit though. I might, because what if it now benefits me? Like I think about Norwegian right now. I'm thinking, well, gosh, I'm kind of low on the totem pole with Norwegian. I'm also kind of low on the totem pole with Royal Caribbean. If I just push a little harder and cruise more with Royal, I could get all those free drinks. That's how it made me feel, but not in a like, screw you, Carnival way. It wasn't like that. It was like, well, maybe I'm just more interested in building loyalty with someone who's going to give me something that has a monetary value And Royal Caribbean does, and Norwegian, they've got monetary value.
See, this is one of the things I was thinking myself. It's like, how big of an impact does that? I mean, of course, there's a psychological aspect to it because you feel like, hey, ripoff. You told me, you told me. But then you get over that kind of stuff pretty fast. And you start thinking about the bottom line. How much money, what kind of an impact is this going to have on you financially? And I think very little. There are other things that Carnival has done or other cruise lines have done that have a bigger impact. And I'm thinking of things like charging for things that they didn't used to charge for.
Ooh, those things make you more upset?
Well, in the scheme of things, it has a bigger impact, is what I'm trying to say, than this.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
I believe that. Yes, I do. I mean, and it's possible too that this program, it is also feasible. It is feasible that this could work too. It could be that they massage it a little bit, but they keep it, because for people who really are spending with Carnival, they're going to get a lot of perks. I mean, you can even get, when you get to your first 50 nights sailed, they're going to throw 5,000 points at you, and every 100 nights, they're going to give you more points. People might get into it like a little bit of an addiction. I will freely admit, I'm kind of addicted to my airline program. I'm really into it. I think about it a lot. I purposefully fly with that airline more because I like the whole system and I like the way it rewards me. And it is possible that people will see this for what it is, and that there will become positive buzz around it. And that they'll be like, yeah, I got my rewards and I actually got a free cruise. And you can get that.
But I think it has to be an option for the people who have already earned it.
Yep.
They could come out and say, look, we can grandfather you in.
Right.
Or you can go to our new program. It's up to you.
Yeah.
And that's the right thing to do. Because just think about what you were saying earlier. If you turned to Royal Caribbean and you said, I really want that drink package benefit, and you did everything that you could to push your loyalty there, and then they turned around and said, oh, you know what, we're changing it.
Right.
Think how upset you'd be.
Oh gosh, you would. Oof.
So they've got to address this. And I think
they do.
I think they probably will, because it's just not good PR.
Right.
For a company that I think loves good PR, this is not good PR.
It's not good PR. And it's so complex, right? You're earning points in too many dang ways. You're earning points when you book it. So you're getting, when you book the cruise, you earn points. Then when you go on the cruise and you buy shore excursions and dining and spa, you're earning more points from all that stuff. Then if you go to the casino, you're earning more. Then if you use the credit card, you're earning more. How do you keep track of all this stuff? You know what I mean? It's like, it's so confusing. And then every member of your family is going to have different point balances, which is probably kind of confusing. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting. We're going to watch it unfold and see what happens. We just wanted to have a little dialogue about it and let you guys know we hear you, we see you, we agree. We think it's not sustainable. I can't say I'm like personally angry about it, but I think it's going to change pretty dramatically in the next 90 days.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. That is all I wanted to say about that today, Mr. Cruise Tips TV. I think we're going to let this one kind of sit out in the ether, and then maybe when they do walk it back or walk it down, or change something like the grandfathering. I feel like that should be a rap song. Then,
you sounded like you were rapping there.
I know. I was like, what was that? That we can come back on and talk about it again. And maybe when the time is right, maybe we'll get someone who's a bit of a Carnival expert on the show to talk about it, because Lord knows I'm not.
So let me ask you this.
Okay.
How long, and you should have people post on this. How long do you think it's going to take Carnival to issue some kind of new change to this?
2 more weeks.
So there you go.
I'm going to say by mid-July. That's my bet.
Well,
what do you think?
The sooner the better.
Right.
But I think that's in line with what I was thinking. About 2 weeks for them to pull it together and say, this is workable, and we're going to address some of the things that have caused the most discomfort. And you know what? It could also be a strategy to where you introduce something so horrible like this, and then you just back off of it a little bit, and the people it will be easier for them to accept. Right? I don't know. Maybe not.
My question would be, what kind of financial impact has this had on the company? I bet you can't tell immediately because the way people book cruises is so, it's so far out there. But I am curious because people were, basically they were going off by saying like, that's it. I've just canceled my family reunion cruise. You would make it think like they'd pulled their business. But I don't really think that that's widespread the case.
If anybody out there has done that, let us know.
Okay.
Because my guess is no, that it's not, I don't think it's going to have a big impact because it's easy to get mad and say things like that. But
right.
When it comes down to you're booking a cruise, if things like where you want to go and the cost of the cruise are the biggest factors, that's where you're going to go.
Right.
You're not going to look at it and say, well, Carnival has the best destination. They have the cheapest thing. I love Carnival, but they made me really mad, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. But like I said, if you're one of those people who canceled a cruise because of this, let us know.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I would be interested in hearing about that. Well, let's dive in, not right now, but let's look at the other the other cruise line loyalty programs soon here. Again, we did a show about this a while ago. Years ago, I think we kind of reviewed all the different loyalty programs, so it might be time to take a look at them again and do a little comparing. And then come back in a year to see if any of the other cruise lines actually had the gumption to make changes after this big debacle happened.
Is there a loyalty program that you actually look forward to?
Yeah, Princess.
That's kind of what I thought.
I love Princess's loyalty program. It's so good. I feel like I get monetary value out of it. The laundry alone, the laundry that they give you is so great. Also, the mini bar setup in my room. I have, I think, 8 small bottles of liquor and a stocked refrigerator full of my favorite soft drinks. That's monetary value right there. There's more too. So, but I'm elite with Princess. I would be devastated if that was taken away from me. But that's because their program has value. When I cruise with Carnival, I don't feel that as much. Maybe there's a few things, but there's very few perks for me. So, yeah, how about you? I mean, I don't think you think about it as much.
I don't.
Because you're not the one who books it. You're the type B, go along for the ride, and I'm the type A planner. Most families and couples operate this way, right? Like you have one person who totally knows all the details and does the planning, and the other person offers different things to the vacation.
It's too true. And here's the way I look at it. What do I always say? What's the bottom line?
Right.
But you know all the ins and outs and what's with it, and even sometimes I don't ask you about the ports.
Right. You don't even care about the ports.
I'm like, tell me the bottom line. How much?
Yeah.
And how long? Those are really the two things: how much and how long.
Right.
So loyalty programs don't really affect how much and how long that much.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes they do. And, with this situation too, I really feel for the people who, there's a lot of people out there who cruise on Carnival and who cruise on other lines too, where they're like, look, I only go on a cruise once every 2 to 3 years. This blows for them. This is the worst for them. Yeah. It's like, it's already difficult to get the time off. It's already difficult to save the money. These people are probably saving long and hard for these cruises. And then I think this is where Carnival has made the biggest mistake, is there are loyal people out there who just, they've been with you for maybe 15, 20 years, however long the program's been around, and they've earned that status, but they just simply, for whatever reason, can't cruise that often. And that's a slap in the face for them, right? So I'm hoping that there's that gets addressed. Like you said, they got to grandfather them in. I'm hoping that they do something where those people who maybe they haven't spent $16,000 every 2 years per person on cruising with Carnival, but their loyalty can still be recognized.
What's the best loyalty perk you could think of? reasonable?
Free drinks. Royal Caribbean has it. Once you get to Diamond, is it Diamond or Diamond Plus? Diamond, I think. You get drink vouchers every day. I would never have to buy another drink package in my life because I don't drink heavily enough to go beyond.
To exceed it. Yeah.
So for me, that would be when I think of these perks, most of them really are monetary. Like I think of the softer things like laundry on Princess is more of a convenience since you and I pack light. And the mini bar in the room, also monetary, but the Royal Caribbean really has the best loyalty program. It just takes a while to get there. That's the problem. That's why we haven't reached it.
What about for someone like me that does not drink?
What do I think the best would be for you? Unlimited laundry and pressing throughout the duration of your cruise. Would you agree?
Yeah, it definitely, because of the way I pack.
Mm-hmm.
If the Wi-Fi was better, I might bump that up and say Wi-Fi. But a lot of times with the, when you get free Wi-Fi or discounted Wi-Fi, it's just not that good.
Well, and that's part of it. Like if you're elite on Princess, you get 50% off an internet package. But like you said, it doesn't matter if you have poor satellite in Alaska or whatever, or they, just haven't invested in the top of the line product. But yeah, I think it's hard to say. I'm curious to hear what people think the top loyalty perk would be for them. Because it certainly isn't a pin or a logo item. And I know Carnival was big on that for a while. I don't give a flying hoot if you give me a free luggage tag to stick on my bag no, I don't care. That's just more clutter in my life. That does not send a message to me. I want something that's going to save me money, right?
I don't know, this is probably not reasonable, but I always think that there should be some future cruise thing because that keeps you there with them. Mm-hmm. If they say, when you're at this level, you get a certain percentage off your next cruise.
Yeah. And
or even a dollar amount.
I think the closest thing to that right now, there may be a program or two that has a little bit of a discount there, but it's not so big that people are like, I ran. Right. But there are early booking capabilities. So if you're at a certain level and a new itinerary is released 18 months from now, you get to book it a couple days before the general population or the people who are lower tier. So kind of like that, but yeah, that would be cool. Agree?
I think maybe some people would like spa discounts or even, it's probably too much to say some free spa services because that's such a big moneymaker for them. But if
spa discounts,
if they got real discounts.
Like super significant, not like 10% off because some of them do have that.
Only on port days.
Not right. Or maybe you got a free 90-minute massage per cruise. Or something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of areas where they could, throw in some perks.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
Even with like room service or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Now that they charge for room service, that's not a bad idea. Unlimited free room service. All food for thought. All right, friends, thanks for joining us in this controversial conversation. We're going to come back to our Cruise Mistakes series where we're going to talk about flight blunders that can really mess with your trip. Next week, I have a special guest coming on in a few weeks. We're going to be talking about some interesting topics. I'll let you know when I have that narrowed down, but that's going to be a super fun show too. And until next time, we'll see you on the high seas. Thanks for listening to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. If you like our show and want to know more, check us out at CruiseTipsTV.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram by searching Cruise Tips TV. We'd love if you'd leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, subscribe to the show, and tune in next week. Until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.